Today I'm walking with PK Subban, NHL legend.
He had a 13-year illustrious career playing for the Canadiens, the Predators, and the Devils. While with the Devils, he provided youthful guidance to Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier. He won a Norris Trophy in 2013 and was a 3-time All-Star. I can't wait to meet PK. Let's go for a walk.
What's up, Frank?
Hey, how's it going?
What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Thanks
Thanks.
for inviting me to do this. I'm pumped. Do you mind? I like to have my water bottles.
So do I.
Good. Dude, let's do this, man. By the way, I couldn't be any more pumped to do this. So many people in the city are fans of yours, and I've seen some of your clips, and Mel has sent me some of your stuff. Even while I was playing, I've seen some of his clips before, so it's like a real honor to do this with you.
I'm glad you didn't take it too personally.
No! I never take anything personally. Are you kidding me? No. Hey.
You like losing games. You're in the whole tank. Shut up, Frank.
I was just frustrated, yeah. I'm a passionate Devils fan.
Did you say something about me? I haven't seen it, so good. I gotta see the clip now. I have to see the clip. All right, let's do it.
Well, 2019-2020 season, I mean, the first game you played with the Devils, I'm a Devils season ticket holder, and I was there that night against the Winnipeg Jets.
Yes, when we went up like 4-0.
And the third period just disintegrated.
Yes, I remember that.
I mean, that just set the tone for that whole season.
Yeah, I remember that.
I mean, one of my favorite players right now is Jack Hughes. I love Jack Hughes.
Okay, so do you want me to go back to that game for a second?
Yes.
I was pissed off in that game because there were some critical moments where I honestly wanted to be on the ice. For me, my whole career in coming to New Jersey was based on the fact that I played in the playoffs,
veteran leader.
A veteran leader, and when the game was on the line, I just felt like I wasn't always in those positions to make a difference, and that was the frustrating thing, was that this was a game we had to win. We couldn't lose that game, because you're setting the tone. You're up 4-0, 5-0 on a good team, a team that has experience. Scheifele, all these guys that have played together for a long time. We knew that they had a good enough team to come back from 4-0, but we had to put them away, and I don't know. I was a little bit frustrated, but the first game's always tough. You're trying to get everybody in the mix, everybody in the flow. I think it was a back-to-back. Was it a back-to-back?
Yeah, the next day.
Yeah, we played the next day. Yeah.
I think that first week you blew third period leads like 3 times. It was that was one of the toughest starts to a season that I've. And it just set the whole tone for the whole season.
Well, listen, I look at that team. We were very, very young.
Yeah.
We brought in some veteran players, but the chemistry it wasn't there. We didn't gel well enough.
No.
New coach, GM, and then, a couple months into the season, GM gets fired. Coach gets fired. It's just it ended up just being a shit show,
and by then, you're ready. The 5-year window after 2012, and I knew 2012 was going to be the end for the Devils. I really wanted them to win the Stanley Cup that year. I knew that was it. I knew that was the last run, and it was great that Martin Brodeur got them to the finals as a 40-year-old. I love Martin Brodeur, by the way.
Okay, but let's keep it real about the Devils for a second, because when I think of the Devils, I think of one of the toughest teams to play against all the time. So when I played in Montreal, especially in the East, you knew you had to pack a lunch when you were coming to the Prudential Center, because you knew, it wasn't going to be freebie night. You weren't getting any free cookies. There was no free points. It wasn't point night. Actually, you knew it was going to be probably one of the most frustrating nights of the season. Any night you were playing in New Jersey, it wasn't about the glitz and glamour of being in the tri-state area. It was you have to get ready to get your hands dirty. You got to put your hard hats on. You got to go to work, because they're going to 1-3-1 you. They're going to trap it up. It's going to be tough coming through the neutral zone. They're going to try to frustrate you. They got Travis Zajac, who's got one of the best sticks in the league. Green's blocking shots. They got great goaltending. They just play a style of game that's frustrating. So when I went to New Jersey, I was super excited because I'm like, oh my God, I'm at this point in my career now where, like, yeah, you know, I can take the puck and go end to end, but that's not winning hockey. I want to play winning hockey. And I knew that New Jersey had that culture. So to come there and for us not to have that same feeling, to put on that jersey and not feel like every team that came into the building was scared to play us, was so different for me. And I think a lot of that had to do with just the changing of the NHL. Like, the game got younger, the players are younger, and it's more exciting. But, like, let's be honest, do people really want to come to the rink every day, 41 games a year? Do you want to come as a season ticket holder and watch games be 1-0 and 2-1? No, you want to see goals. You want to see excitement. The number one thing is winning, but it is sports entertainment too, right?
Yeah.
Right? Be honest. Tell me.
Yeah, and the Devils have that. Actually, now, with Hughes, the only question is they just need someone to protect him.
Well, they need to get, listen, Wayne Simmons came in that year that we had.
Wayne Train.
Wayne Train. They want to get tougher, but you need the right toughness. You know, like, listen, I would love, every team would love to have a Tom Wilson on their team, right? A guy like that plays physical, that can score goals, bring all those elements to a team. But it's fucking hard, man.
Yeah.
It's hard to build a hockey team. You know, I don't like. It's difficult.
The Devils had looked were so great last year. You don't that they're gonna improve on it, and it just such a setback year, and a huge injury played a big role to it. And Luke Hughes is a good defenseman, but he looked young sometimes.
He's young. No, he's still young. He's still young, and he needs time. Like Frank, you gotta give him 3 seasons. I always say for a defenseman, whether he comes in at 18, 21, 20, in that area, you got to give him 3 seasons.
Yeah, I wasn't concerned with Luke Hughes. I wasn't concerned.
No, I'm not concerned.
And I'm not concerned with Simon Nemec either.
No, but what does that mean?
Brendan Smith step out of me.
Okay, well, but hold on a second, right? When I look at the New Jersey Devils now, it's the clock's ticking now because you got Jack Hughes locked up. Jack's gonna do his thing. You know what you're getting with Jack. Nico, you know what you're getting with him. It's the guys now have to take that step because when you look around the rest of the league, you look at all the young, look at Lafreniere in New York, right? You look at all the young players around the league that are in team situations. They're all taking that step, and it's not just on them individually. It's the situation that they're in. You need the right balance between youth and veterans. You need the right players. New Jersey beats the Rangers in the first round of the playoffs.
Oh, that was one.
Hold on. I said Devils in 7, right? Oh, well, PK, why'd you say Devils in 7? Well, because I knew that if the Devils were going to beat them, they weren't beating them in 6 or 5. They weren't doing that because we knew that the Rangers were a deep team. I said for Devils to beat them, it would have to be in 7 games, and it's because of their speed. The Rangers, I did not think could handle their speed because I just played with them and I saw how much trouble their D would have with our speed. Well, they came out and you could see the speed cause turnovers. Rangers didn't look themselves. They go. So now when I think of the New Jersey Devils, they have to build that team on speed. But when you get to the playoffs, Frank, what happens to the rink? It shrinks.
Yep.
It gets smaller. So you need to have that balance of speed, skill, and toughness. That's why the Rangers, you see them now get through Carolina, they withstanded that pressure, right? The ice shrunk. They got through it. You know, Chris Kreider some big goals, but
I'm disappointed. I thought Carolina would win that series.
You know, I picked the Rangers because I'll never go against a goaltender like Shesterkin. It's very difficult. That's why I think now it's going to be difficult to pick teams because you're looking at all great goaltenders from here on in. But with the Rangers, here's the question. It still remains, and I'll go back and say it earlier in the season, when they played Florida at MSG, they ended up beating Florida in shootout, I think it was, or in overtime. And Florida was missing Barkov and missing some of their main guys. If the New York Rangers do not win their battles in front of their net and in front of Florida's net, they will not win that series. I'm going to tell you that for free. It doesn't matter. If they do not own that real estate, if they can't get in front of Bobrovsky or Swayman or whoever they're playing and own that real estate there, and then do it in front of their own goaltender, because that's the biggest test. Are they going to be able to defend in front of Shesterkin? Because you know Florida's going to be in there.
Yeah.
You know Boston's going to be in there. But Florida, more importantly, I think it's going to be Florida that they play. That's my opinion. But, yeah, I don't know. I thought Carolina could have won that series too, but Rangers did what they had to do. They're the better team.
Yeah, I think what ended up happening is that the Hurricanes just at the beginning of the season, beginning of the series, just their power play just was dreadful.
Oh, their power play is not dreadful. It's actually frustrating. For someone who's not like, listen, am I a fan of the Hurricanes? I'm not a fan of the Hurricanes. I think that they have a good enough team. I like their style. I like that they work their bags off. They have a bunch of guys that leave it all on the ice every game. That's what I do love. But their power play, to me, can be so frustrating to watch. It's like, they have so many good weapons. It's just like, you gotta get over the puck, get shots, simplify it. They got D that can shoot the puck, that are mobile. I just didn't get that, how their power play couldn't do it. But then you look at the Rangers, and you see the way they move the puck around, and they don't have that personnel, right? So, you know what I'll tell you? Like, I'm watching the Stanley Cup playoffs right now, and I'm seeing players out on the ice, and the first thing I think about is like, okay, A, is a player injured, right? Because it's so easy to be critical of a guy. Like, I'll give you an example. Aaron Ekblad in the finals last year, I'm like, what the hell's going on with Ekblad? Like, why does he's not skating? And then at the end of the finals, I hear he's got like a broken leg and like, no, he's got like 3 different injuries going on, and I had no idea, ribs. So it's like, you never know why a player looks the way that they look on the ice. And in pro sports, in hockey, they don't ever disclose it.
Upper body, lower body injuries.
But dude, sometimes it has nothing to do with injuries or anything. Sometimes it has to do with the fact that the player's just got no confidence. Like, a guy just might not have the confidence. It's like, well, you know what? You're making $12 million a year, $10 million a year. You got to go out and perform. But it's like, where the fuck is the coach? Frank, you got a guy making $9-10 million a year. How do you not sit down with that guy and say, what do you need to perform the way that you perform? The reason why we brought you here. We brought you here for a reason. What do you need to perform at your highest level?
And that's the Devils need a good coach. They have to nail this coach decision.
Okay, 100%. This is the most important, in my opinion, over the past 5 years. This is going to be the most important hire for the New Jersey Devils, because the youth on the team are not so youthful anymore. They have some experience under their belt. They gotten a little bit of playoffs. They've got regular season. They've had the what's up guys? They've had the opportunity now to run with the ball and be the leader, be a part of the leadership group to take the organization to that next step. So now it's going to be on who's the person guiding them now, right? Who's not stripping them away from their confidence or anything like that, has the experience to be able to take them to the next level, both individually as players, but also as a team. So now it's about being a pro and showing up every night and the expectation. And I think that, like, in order to do that, I really believe that they have to go and get an experienced coach. They have to get somebody that has been in the game long enough. And it's easy for me to say that. It's easy for anybody to say, go out and get a Joel Quenneville or go out and get, someone like that. But
would he hire Quenneville? Is he able to be hired?
I'm not saying that it should be him, but I think it's got to be somebody with that type of resume. And listen, who was
the original Devil?
Oh, listen. And by the way, Joel Quenneville also has to want to coach for the New Jersey Devils. Like, it has to be that as well. But I would like to see somebody with that type of experience, not a coach that's coached a year. Listen, I've heard things about Sheldon Keefe potentially, being there. I mean, I've been open and honest about what I thought he did in Toronto, but you have to be very careful. Toronto's got a young players too.
Yeah,
it's very, very similar to New Jersey.
I don't know if I don't know if I want that guy.
Well, I'm just saying. I would like to see a more veteran guy come in. Well, PK, we just had Lindy Ruff. Well, Buffalo goes and hires Lindy. And does that make any sense based on what happened in New Jersey?
No.
Like, I don't know.
Well, Buffalo hired him because they're trying to bring back the echoes.
Well, I mean, listen. When I played for Montreal, I saw Lindy Ruff behind the Buffalo Sabres bench. He was coaching the Sabres. So that just shows you how things come full circle. But I think for New Jersey, they have such a special group there. Dougie's going to come back. That was a big loss.
They missed him.
Whenever you miss a guy that eats 22, 24, 25 minutes, that scores 20 goals a year, that's putting in 60 points, I mean, you don't replace those guys.
No.
You know?
No. And
so
he would have helped Luke and Nemec last year.
Big time. But those guys are going to be studs. You know they're going to be studs.
Yes.
They're going to be studs.
Well, we're now getting, by the time this comes out, we're going to be getting close to the finals.
Okay.
What do you think we're going to see this year in the last few rounds? And ESPN, by the way, has got the exclusive coverage this year of the Stanley Cup Final.
Yeah, well, and I'm extremely excited about it because it's my first Stanley Cup Final, first of all. The only time I'd ever done a Stanley Cup Final game as an analyst was NBC when Washington played Vegas, and Washington ended up winning in Vegas. It was one of the coolest experiences. So to now be able to have 2 years of being an analyst under my belt and the experience, to be able to like sit there now and watch the Stanley Cup Final and analyze it and know the players, I couldn't be any more excited for it. But I think that this might be, like the conference final and the Stanley Cup Final might be some of the best hockey that we've seen over the past decade.
Last year they were a good conference finals too.
Oh, no. I think this year, though, it's going to be an absolute war. If you're thinking about Rangers, potentially Florida or Boston, Dallas, Edmonton, Vancouver, like these are the elite teams right now left in the game. So I think it's
there's been almost no upsets this year.
No, because there's so much parity. What's an upset? What's an upset? If Detroit makes it into the playoffs over Washington, which probably should have happened.
Yes.
Rangers.
I don't like the NHL's point breaking.
Okay, so why don't you talk about that? Because I get that question a ton. And remember, when I was in Nashville, we won the President's Trophy. We played Winnipeg second round. It was the second place team. We lose to them in 7 games, and everybody wants to ask me where my cup is, and I was like, well, dude, I mean,
go back to 1 through 8.
You really think that? But you don't like the rivalries? I love the rivalries. I do like seeing Boston and Toronto, and I do like seeing that.
But I do like spreading it out through the rivals, so the best teams are in the later rounds.
I think that it would be nice to have a mixture of both. I think it would be cool if they had a format where they had the same format now with the wild card, and after the first round, reseed it. I would like to see reseeding happening as the Stanley Cup, as you get closer to the Cup Final, because winning, you should get more of an advantage as you go on.
I think the best team, the better team, should play like mid. Yes, for example, you could be lucky and get like a primrose path. Meanwhile, a team's going through a gauntlet playing the top teams, and then next thing you know, here comes Stanley Cup Finals, and you're done.
Well, I mean, think about it. We play Vegas Golden Knights. They get anybody but Dallas in the first round. Maybe they find their game, get into a rhythm, right? But it's on Vegas too. You can't be finishing 8th. Like, so now what the way this format is set up is it doesn't allow you to coast through the regular season. You want to be the highest seeded team. Like you do. You want to get home ice advantage. You want to be the highest seeded team. Vegas, look, as great as they were, they won the Stanley Cup, but they had 9 guys who got off-season surgery. So they end up in A spot. Like, no, it's just, so I think it's a couple of...
But that's why it's so hard to repeat.
It's so hard to repeat. It is very difficult to repeat. But if I was going to tweak something, I would like to see a reseeding happening after. I don't mind the wild card. I don't mind the way it's set up right now. I think I would like to see a reseeding after maybe the first or second round. Just to get it, the top teams have to get an event. You can't have the President's Trophy team playing the second place team in the second round. That's just tough. And I mean, for me, you could argue I could be the most pissed off about it because in Nashville, we lose Fiala, we use Johansson, in the before the Cup Final, we lose to Pittsburgh in 6 games, right? Okay, missed opportunity. But the second year, we win the President's Trophy. We have all the opportunity in the world to win the Stanley Cup. We had the team for it, goaltending, everything, and we run into a stacked Winnipeg team. Like, I don't know. Winnipeg was good this year. That team this year had nothing on that team in 2016 that we played against, or 15.
Now, one thing that's noticeable is that when I was growing up, at least the first, like, it was the Canadian teams won the Stanley Cup. There hasn't been a Canadian team that's won the Stanley Cup, and it's hard to believe, since 1993. Could Vancouver or Edmonton, the winner of that series, can they be the one to break through, break that drought?
Wow. I mean, the Vancouver Canucks definitely can. I mean, Elias Pettersson, he woke up in Game 5. You saw him last night. He looked unbelievable, couple big plays. And by the way, I want to talk about him for a second because it is important. We're talking about Edmonton and Vancouver, 2 teams, right, that could get there. But if I'm talking about Vancouver solely, who had one of the best seasons that we've seen in a long time, they've been terrible for a while. And Rick Tocchet comes in, changes the whole culture of that team. JT Miller, which team wouldn't take JT Miller on their team right now? Elias Pettersson's making, what, $11 million a year right now? If that guy plays 80% of what he can play moving forward, oh my God. I don't see Edmonton beating them in a 7 games. Like, I just don't. Not if they're healthy. Not if Vancouver's healthy and they continue to get the great goaltending that they're getting. With Edmonton, it's the goaltending that's hurting them. I hate to say it.
We were talking about
it's the goaltending and the defense. They just, you know, and I don't even want to talk about defense because every time I mention defense, everybody thinks that I'm shitting on everybody's defense because they never took me on their team before I retired. So everybody always thinks whenever I talk about defense, they're like, oh yeah, he's got a thing for Edmonton. He's got a thing. No, it's just
every year it's the same. It's the same story. They have they have Connor McDavid, who I think is the best player in the league, and he's just him and Draisaitl are just like score every at will, and then the playoffs come and that comes down to a big save, and they just never make it.
Yeah, well, it's difficult. You got to build out your teams, and here's the thing, though, and this is what I say to Edmonton: you don't have goaltending. At least go out and stack your defense. Like, you got to retool that defense. Like, where's the emphasis on that? And listen, their defense, Paul Coffey comes in, and their defense looks a lot better. They got a lot better once he stepped on the bench. I will say that. But when you're talking about winning a Stanley Cup, like, I don't know, man. I look around the league. Vancouver's got a better defense than Edmonton. There's no question.
Well, look at Quinn Hughes.
There's no question. They have a better defense than Edmonton. And if you don't have defense in this league, it's very, very difficult. Very, very difficult to win. But that's how good Draisaitl and McDavid are. They give their team a chance. And you can never count those guys out, right? So you know that those guys can win a game.
Yeah, they can.
They can win a game for you. So it's... we'll see. I think right now it looks like it's going to be Vancouver. I think they just got the momentum. I watched them last night. I like their game. They're battle tested like that Garland. They just have so many guys. That Josh was going now. Elias Pettersson comes now. So I think Vancouver right now looks like the team that could do it. Frank, you've been an opinionated guy. I think you've been way too nice today, and I'm sure you've been opinionated about me because I know you're a big Devils fan. This is honest to God truth. I've never seen a tweet or a video about it, and I want you to be honest, Frank, about what you thought.
I was pretty harsh, especially the first two years with the Devils.
Okay.
Because I was actually at the event. When they brought you in, they put your robe on, the Subanator.
Yeah.
They brought a bunch of season ticket holders in. I was there. I was there for that.
Yeah.
And I was really hopeful that this would be the piece that gets the Devils to the next level.
Yep.
So, Frank, you're trying to avoid the question. And to be clear, here's one tweet, PK.
Okay, let's
on February 15th, 2022.
Yep.
PK Subban just fell on his ass like Fred Flintstone. Do you remember that play, Frank?
Yes, I do.
What happened that part?
I think he got like trying to make a save going backwards, and he just his legs just were moving and they didn't do anything.
What's another one?
April 18th, 2021. I told you the Nets will all get hurt. I'm cursed. Mets gonna lose 90. Dolphins 7-10. Devils fucked forever by PK and Shara. Another one.
Let's hear it.
PK Subban sucks. 10-15-21. Francisco Lindor, 5-2-21. Francisco Lindor is the baseball version of PK Subban. Total fucking bust. 5/20/2022. PK is going to be a good announcer.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll tell you this. First of all, my time in New Jersey, let's be honest, if you compare that to my time in Montreal or Nashville, there's a big difference. Now, you know, I'm not one of those guys that looks back and like ever wants to make excuses. Like I'll be the first to say that when I played in Montreal, I got a lot of love. When I played in Nashville, I got a lot of love. And maybe over my career, I've got more love than most players ever get from fans, their own fans, people from around the league. So, number one, I always respect a fan's opinion, and I know when I'm playing my best and when I'm not. But I'll tell you this, coming into New Jersey, I came in with the right attitude and the right approach. I knew I was coming into a situation, coming off of being in the playoffs, I think at that point, probably 8 or 9 out of the first 10 years of my career, like playing playoff hockey, I played 96 playoff games. So, you know, I didn't miss the playoffs much. So coming into the Devils situation where, they had...
I think that's for you guys.
I mean, it's a Corvette. I mean, if it was a Lamborghini, I'd give them a shout out, but it's a Corvette. It's probably a rental too. Anyway, so no offense to the Corvette. I like Corvette, but I don't know if I'd be blowing myself up on a Friday afternoon, interrupting a crazy interview here with Frank. Like, I wouldn't be doing that. You know what I mean? And it's like a teal green too. It's not even like
not
a
even
black.
a good looking color.
It's not.
It
not.
looks like the Kraken uniforms.
Ooh, I'm also not hating. I'm not hating on the Corvette because I like Corvettes, but you know what I mean? It's got to be like a Ferrari or something like that. Anyway, so I'll say this: that coming into New Jersey, into a situation that was a non-playoff situation and a young team, like I never asked for a trade. Out of everything that went on, I never asked for a trade. I never complained about playing in New Jersey and not wanting to be there. I never did any of that, and I wasn't healthy. Like that first year, I was coming off drop foot in Nashville. I had a nerve injury. I couldn't lift my foot for 6 months of the whole year. That's why I missed 20 games and then came back and played against Dallas in the playoffs after drop foot. So people didn't understand that during the summer I was doing rehab when I got traded. I didn't get to train the way that I wanted to. So coming into that season was difficult. That's why in a lot of ways my third year in New Jersey was my best year. It was my best year. Yeah, because I was healthy and I was happy. I was feeling good. I was energetic. I wanted to go to the rink. I was happy with my teammates, you know, like. No problem. So to your point, Frank, I probably had a couple shitty nights the first 2 years that I played in New Jersey, but I would agree that the third year in New Jersey I thought was my best.
Yeah, I definitely say that. That's true. And your third year, you won the King Clancy Award.
Yep, King Clancy. One of the cool things about coming to New Jersey was figuring out what I was going to do from a philanthropic standpoint, because I always like to try to do something in every city that I play in. And starting the Blue Line Buddies program was awesome. In Nashville and being able to bring it to New Jersey and Blitz and David Blitzer, Josh Harris, Allison Blitzer, they embraced the program. And, you know, I don't know, I've been actually talking to them a little bit, so I think I'm going to be doing more stuff in New Jersey actually for the Devils.
Oh, that's good.
Of course. I would, they treated me, one thing I'll say to everybody in New Jersey, like you guys treated me so well when I was there. As much as it was tough losing, I'm not a good loser. But I was on a young team and I had to set a good example for those guys. So, you know, that was different. You know, I'll tell you this right now, like there were a lot of restless nights for me because it was difficult to accept losing. You know, very, very difficult to do that. But I loved my time in New Jersey with the players, and they treated me so well. So I'm excited to help out the city of Newark and continue to help the community as much as I can. Great. You can ask me about anything. Don't like, there's no ego here. So this is all good stuff, and I know what you do, and I love what you do. So feel free to ask me about anything you want.
Now, one thing that I noticed about, I personally think that you have a chance to get into the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
That would be, and I'm rooting for it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, I've heard that from a couple people, actually. People in hockey that have told me that. And, for me, part of, like, me retiring wasn't about, like, everybody always says, like, PK, like, you could still play. Why don't you go play? And it's like, retirement isn't about leaving the game when you can't play anymore. I think it's about understanding, like, what are your goals and aspirations? My dream was to win a Stanley Cup. I wanted to do that. I wanted to be a part of that. But I think that also, like, I know what you bring, like, I know what I can bring to a team. So for me, when I decided to step away from the game, it was about the situation that I was in as a player. And I think as a player, I knew what I could bring to a team, and I didn't want to have the frustration of going to the rink every day and becoming a bad teammate because, Frank, I didn't believe that I could leave everything on the ice. Because you know what? Fans like Frank are going to say, what the fuck is going on with PK? Like, where the fuck's his energy? Like, what the hell? He's not hitting anybody. Where's the big hits? Where's the energy? He's not talking trash. Where's his one-timer? Like, what happened to his one-timer? Well, you know what?
Just run across here. There's a nice little path right here.
Frank's going to say, where's his one-timer? Why? Like, and I'm going to say, well, there's a certain Montreal, no matter what I thought about Michel Therrien, no matter what anybody thought about Michel Therrien, and I love Michel. I had a great relationship with him off the ice, but people were opinionated in how he would coach me. But it didn't matter to me. You know why? Because at the end of the day, Frank, when it came down to it, he put my ass on the fucking ice. When we needed a goal, my ass was on the ice. When I came to New Jersey, dude, I was on the power play for 2 weeks, and then I never went back on the power play for 3 years. So you got to understand that, like, if I'm keeping it real, it was a situation where it was a rebuilding team, and they prioritized playing younger guys. So, dude, you got to give me the reins to run with the ball. I've never been a player that gets spot played, and I'm a bigger guy. I got to play big minutes. I got to play minutes to get into a flow of the game and to get there. So, I think that some of those frustrations you can control and you can't control. And for me, retirement was just like, you know what? I've left everything. I've always left everything on the ice. I think people will look back at my career and they can have an opinion on whether they believe I should be in those conversations or not. But I feel really good about the 13 years that I played and the impact that I had. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, you had a great. You won a Norris Trophy.
Yeah.
I mean, that sets up right there. You for one season, you were the best defenseman in the league.
Yeah, and I didn't even think that was my best year. Like, I thought the year after that was better. I think I had almost 60 points. I had like 18 goals plus 20. We had a really good team that year. I thought that my second year in Nashville, when I was up for it, was a really good year as well. Because I led the team in scoring for most of the year. Like, there were some really good years there. But there's a lot of good defensemen in the league too. So I think that, like, it's not so much that I won it. I think to have been in the conversation with the top 3 defensemen for 8, 9, 10 years of your career, I think that's where my pride comes from. Because whether I won it, Doughty won it, Erik Karlsson, Victor Hedman, like, you could give us all a trophy every year, for the impacts that we had on the ice. But to be in that conversation was cool. Was validation enough for me.
All right, who do you think is the all-time starting 5 for the Devils?
Starting 5? Okay, I'll give you a goalie too. Broder.
Yes, obviously.
Okay. Scott Niedermayer. Scott Stevens.
Yes.
Now, some people may not put Scott Stevens on that blue line. It's no question for me, and I don't know, maybe I'm nuts, but it's no question for me. I'd put him on that blue line. There's a lot of good defensemen that come through New Jersey, but I think it's him, Niedermayer. I'm going to go with, up front, You gotta go with, like, see, I was a big Oleg Tverdovsky fan. I like Tverdovsky when he played back in the day, big shot. But I would say up front, I'm gonna go with Patrick Elias. You gotta go with.
All-time
right?
leading scorer.
You gotta go with Patrick Elias. And now I gotta be careful because I will play favorites here a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna go with Scott Gomez.
Yeah.
That's my guy. Scott Gomez, he won Rookie of the Year there too.
Yes.
Okay, Scott Gomez, no question about it. I love the way that guy could dance and dish. And I'm gonna go with, you know what? I'm gonna go with Brian Giunta.
Oh, yeah, Brian Gianna, yeah. Undersized, underappreciated, but he can.
Gio, I know you like that one. That's for Harvest. That's for all the kids, for everybody at home. Remember, I played with Gio in Montreal. He's my captain.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Yeah, undersized, but he could score. He could score a lot of goals.
big time, big goals, and he went to all the dirty areas. Yep. So those are my guys. What's your starting five?
I'd pretty much do the same thing.
Yeah.
Stevens has to be. He's the captain.
He's got to be.
He's the captain. I mean, everyone loves Kenny Danico, but Scott Niedermayer was so much a part of everything the Devils did. So those are the obvious. Only obvious because to me, Martin Brodeur is the greatest goalie of all time. To me.
Really?
Yes.
Over Patrick Waugh?
Yes.
Wow. Over Dominic Hasek?
Yes.
Wow. And why? Take the New Jersey out of it. Why?
Because he has the most wins and the most shutouts. And he played every day.
Like, it's hard. He did play every day.
He played every day. He averaged like 75 games a year. I mean, if you're like the guy you work with now, Kevin Weeks.
Yep.
He was a backup for a couple of years.
Yep. With Marty.
For Marty. He had the cushiest job in the NHL. He sat, watched hockey, got paid, and he got to watch Martin Brodeur weave magic night in, night out.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And Kevin Weeks had his moment in Carolina. I'm sure that playing behind Martin Brodeur and learning from him and seeing that had a big impact on him having that run as well with Carolina and Arthur Zerbe and the whole team there. But if somebody had, like, Pat, I'm a Montreal guy. You know that.
Yeah.
I'm a Montreal guy. And, okay, so here's the thing with me. I'm not going to disagree with Marty Brodeur being number one all time because I can't. A guy, if you have the most shutouts, like, come on. The numbers, you can't argue the numbers. But when people ask me about the greatest of all time, more goes into it than just the numbers. In my opinion, it has to. And Patrick Waugh, the fact that he won cups with two different teams, went to Colorado, the way he did it, the storyline behind it, Patrick being his authentic self, being that guy, the way he won the rings, the MVPs, it's hard to argue that Patrick Waugh shouldn't be number one in all time.
I'd put him two.
Okay.
I'd put him two. But
Okay. Now I have another question for you. Okay. I'm not saying that Marty's not number one, by the way. I'm not saying that. You got to talk about Patrick. You can't talk about Marty being number one and not bring up Patrick Waugh's name.
Yeah, Patrick Waugh, I mean, there's no doubt how great he was.
Okay. You also can't talk about those two guys without bringing up Dominic Hasek. One game. You got to win one game. Who's in net? Hasek, Waugh, or Brodeur?
I'm sticking with my guy.
Wow.
I'm sticking with my guy.
Over the Dominator.
I'm sticking with my guy. And I remember '94, that playoff game, that we were like, what, six overtime before the goal? Nothing?
Yes. Yes. But Dominic Hasek, okay, hold on. Was he not one of the most amazing?
Yeah, he was.
He was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of people that say he's the best goaltender of all time. There's a lot of people, and they're not from Buffalo either, or Detroit.
But you know one thing about Marty is the trapezoid behind the net. That was put there because of what Martin Brodeur could do with the stick.
Hold on. Now Frank sounds like he watched PK's Places on ESPN. Hey, did he not watch PK's Places ESPN Plus? Exactly, because we had a breakdown on that. By the way, this was all a trick question for you because I always had Marty as number one. I just wanted to know if you were watching PK's Places when we gave the breakdown about Marty being the best puck handler of all time in the NHL and a big reason why the New Jersey Devils were so good in the 90s. So,
I mean, there was like a 2000 was against the Maple Leafs elimination game. They held Toronto to 6 shots on goal. I mean, it must have been just like you want to pull your hair out while playing against them.
No, and this is why I tell you, when I was going to play for the New Jersey Devils, why I was so excited. Because I'm like, you know what? I couldn't want to buy in more to a team system that results in us winning more than I am right now in my career. Because think about it, when you start your career as a pro athlete, you have all this raw talent, this ability, this energy, this electricity running through your body. Like Jack Hughes, that's what he's going through right now. He's so talented. Every game he can beat in so many different ways. He's trying to manage, how do I use all these tools to A, help myself be successful and help our team get to our goal. When I played for the Devils, I lived in Millburn, like Short Hills area. So I lived on Old Short Hills Road for 2 years during the pandemic and everything. Oh my God, what a godsend that was. Living in New Jersey during the pandemic, beautiful. I had no idea New Jersey was so beautiful until I moved there.
I mean, yeah, this park in particular, you come here during the early part of spring, nothing but cherry blossoms.
Really?
Yes.
Come on.
Nothing but cherry blossoms.
So this is a good date spot, Frank?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, and if you come here, I did a walk here and I saw dozens of people. Like, I don't even know if they're getting married that day, with their wedding dress, and they're taking their pictures by the cherry blossoms.
Oh no, this would be beautiful out here. You get a nice little blanket, nice little picnic table, bring your basket.
And then you got the church, the basilica over here. That's
if you want to elope. If the date goes well, right?
Yeah, and that thing just glows. It glows over everything.
Oh no, this is beautiful. I love New Jersey.
I mean, yeah, I've lived within a few miles of this park my whole life.
Yeah?
Yep. So this is like a home walk for me.
So, and what part of New Jersey are you from?
Well, I'm from this part. I lived in Newark for like 10 years.
Okay.
Then when I was 10, I moved to Bloomfield, and then I moved to Belleville. And all those towns border each other.
Okay.
And I still live in Belleville. I mean, I live like a couple blocks from this park. So I know this park very well. It's just when I get turned around, my sense of direction isn't great. I'm not a great navigator.
Any other questions for me, boys?
What we talked about earlier about the Blue Line Buddies program.
Yep.
Describe it for me a little bit.
So I started that program when I was in Nashville, and a lot of it was because, I don't know. I'm not a divisive guy, Frank. I try to bring people together. I try to build bridges in communities and always try to find a solution to issues. That's just how my mind's wired. So, I don't really see much else. I just see what's the problem? How do we fix it? What's the solution? And then how do we pull everybody into it so that everybody can share this, right? And be a part of it. Because that's what it's about.
Yep.
And so for me, when I started Blue Line Buddies program, I said, I'm leaving Montreal. I did this huge thing with the hospital. I'm probably not going to do another huge thing because I have that commitment that I want to fulfill and continue to work with. So I'm going to do something that may not be on the scale of a donation to a hospital, but could be more impactful than what I'm doing at the hospital. And I thought about it, and at that time, there was the election. There was a lot of tension, and in the United States, I was also moving to Nashville. It was my first time in my life living in the United States. I had visited the United States, never lived there. So I was 25, 26, getting traded to Nashville, going to the South, and all this turmoil is going on. Colin Kaepernick's kneeling, people not standing for the national anthem. I'm a Canadian guy. My mom's worried. Everybody, and I'm like, Mom, I'm going to play hockey. Nashville could not have been any better than what it was for me. It was, the people in the South were so nice and so beautiful and so gracious. And I get there and I remember I had to answer questions about it. And I said, you know what? Like, I'm going to get tickets to every home game, 4 tickets, and let's bring law enforcement, underprivileged youth. We'll go to the team, we'll have them get a program or find a program where we can actually be able to pull some underprivileged youth out of it, bring them to a game, have them experience what it's like to be at Bridgestone Arena for one night and do it with law enforcement officers. Because growing up, law enforcement officers, like, we had names for them, 5-0, Control-O, and the whole thing is in school is like you're not supposed to talk to the police. Like, it's like a stigma, like you got to be afraid of the police, like you don't talk to them. And I'm like, well, what if we can get rid of that stigma and get people comfortable around law enforcement officers and get law enforcement officers comfortable around these kids? Because that's how you change it. You're not changing it by bringing in some guy who's 50 years old, who's lived a whole life already. You got to start with the kids. So I said, you know, let's start this program. We set up dinner for the kids with the law enforcement officers before the game. They come down, meet the players after the game. And it was just an experience. And man, it just took off. We had law enforcement officers taking kids on their own dime to games, keeping rapports with the kids, keeping tabs. The police chief was very, very complimentary, gave me an award, an honorable award for that. And they continue the program now in Nashville, and it was just well received. So it was super impactful, and that's what I wanted to do. You know, I could have done probably 50 million different things, some of them divisive, but I felt that this was the best way to do it, and it's been well received since, and I'm looking forward to hopefully growing it. I'd like to do it in the tri-state. You know, I'd love to do it with multiple teams.
No, that'd be good, actually. I think you got to get the underprivileged into hockey.
Yes.
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 That's how you grow the game.
Yes.
To me, that's 100%. How you grow the game.
Yes.
I mean, I don't think it does enough. For example, players like Jerome Ingimla.
Mm-hmm.
He played in Calgary.
Yeah.
But I don't think a lot of Americans know who he was.
No.
I don't think a lot of Americans know who he was.
But you know what, Frank? You have to also understand this. And I tell this to people. I get really annoyed with this in today's sports. Not everybody is an activist. Not everybody wants or can do all. Like, Frank, at the hospital, I take people on walks like you take people on walks like this. I take people on walks to the hospital. There's some people who can't go on walks in that hospital. They can't handle it. They can't see the kids like that. They can't see families like that. They can't deal with it emotionally. So who am I to tell anybody that they should start a foundation? Like, it's not everybody is built for it.
You have to do what you're best for.
Right. So, you know, with Jerome McGinley, I'm happy that he did his career the right way, because guess what? In 2017, when I was on the cover, or 2019, when I was on the cover in the NHL game, all I could think about was seeing Jerome McGinley on the NHL cover of 2003, and the example that he set for a guy like me coming into the NHL. So without him ever opening his mouth or doing something that impacted me in a community, he did so much that impacted my life. You know?
Well, that's nice, and I'm so glad that you did this walk.
Yeah, man.
This was a lot of fun.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you. Watch the hockey Stanley Cup playoffs finals exclusively on ESPN. We got a lot of stuff coming up with the Stanley Cup itself. So watch that too, and thanks again.
And make sure you watch my man Frank. Make sure you watch. I'll be keeping tabs on all your walks from now on. All right? Thanks, Frank.